everyone, how are you? Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome for the first time. Today, we'll be discussing Colleen Ballinger's heinous actions toward her young fans over the course of her career and her sudden return to YouTube after a 4 to 5 month hiatus. This situation is significant not just because an internet star that has been beloved since the early 2000s is yet another depraved person, but it destroys the conservative narrative that only the LGBT+ community preys on kids, when Colleen has proven that anyone from any demographic can be a danger to them. Then again, Christian organizations and Republican circles have lately made excellent places for MAPs to integrate themselves into. When that hiding place is threatened, they will scapegoat a vulnerable group to save their skins, and the situation involving Colleen Ballinger and her family is remarkably similar. She is best known for her character Miranda Sings. She's a hilariously obnoxious caricature of girls that think they have a shot in show business, but they do not have the talent required for a record label to sign them, and by that, I mean their vocals are lousy. When I first heard of Miranda Sings, it was from a video recorded by a girl sporting too much lipstick and large eyebrows in 2011, where she loudly sang Adele's Someone Like You. I thought she was a Miranda Cosgrove lookalike because they looked similar in spite of the girl's exaggerated facial characteristics.
I heard that you settled down, that you found a girl and you're married now. I heard that your dreams came true. And she gave the thing I didn't get you. Oh, bitch, where's society?
This is actually Miranda Sings.
I heard that you're settled down, that you found a girl and you're married now. I hate to turn up out of the blue uninvited, but I'm gonna stay away. I couldn't find it. I'd hope you'd see my face and that you'd be reminded that for me it isn't over. Never mind, I'll find someone like you. I wish nothing but the best for you.
I checked out a few videos where Miranda Sings performed covers of Call Me Maybe, Blank Space and Boyfriend, and as a high school student, I wasn't all that amused. I got a light chuckle out of Colleen's purposely bad singing, but it didn't pique my interest enough for me to stick around. I forgot who she was after that until I read an article shared on Facebook written by someone that had the time of their life, seeing Colleen perform at a live show in what I think was 2016, and during that show, she viciously mocked Donald Trump like no tomorrow and cursed up a storm. It caused a few parents to abruptly leave with their kids. It was a hysterical read where I came to know Miranda Sings as boorish but point blank if it's in sync with her performance. Unfortunately, I searched everywhere for the article and couldn't find it, but I did come across a similar post in the Colleen Ballinger Snark subreddit where someone attended a show on the same year as a VIP, described how raunchy the show was. The attendees stated that the costumes and props on stage were intentionally designed to look like they were made in arts and crafts, and Miranda Sings gave a PowerPoint presentation to an audience primarily made up of elementary school-age kids on how to score a date. There is a time and place to give dating advice to kids at a young age in a way that's engaging and easy to grasp, but doesn't need to be that graphic. And why would handcuffs be needed if it's not to do fun stuff in bed, if you know what I mean? What Miranda lacked in her ability to harmonize, she thrived with her off-color humor, quirky reinterpretations of existing songs in her earlier videos, and outfits that reflect her childlike persona. Her trademark attire usually consists of a button-collared shirt, enormous red lips, and sweatpants. Though Miranda Sings is portrayed as a bad singer with a fixation on sexual innuendos, she has launched Colleen Ballinger into internet stardom. As of this video, the channel where she gets into character has accumulated over 10.6 million subscribers, while her main channel has 8.41 million subscribers and 3.2 million people are subscribed to her vlog channel, all of which cater to young viewers. She went on to make cameo appearances in the Victoria special, Tori Goes Platinum, Ralph Breaks the Internet, and has 2 shows on Netflix, with her most notorious, in my opinion, being Haters Back Off. It's kind of foreboding that the show is aimed for teenagers. Trouble for Colleen began in 2020 when a former 17-year-old fan named Adam McIntyre uploaded a video where he shared an unpleasant experience about what it was like to interact and work with her directly. Prior to getting in contact with the Ballinger family, he ran fan pages on both Instagram and Twitter dedicated to Miranda Sings. That was all throughout 2012 and 2013, so Adam was around 13 to 14 years old when Colleen first reached out to him. Both he and his parents were excited that Colleen took the time to say hello, but it quickly went south when she confided in him about her divorce from her ex-husband. She then started to ask him for odd favors like searching for incriminating information about her ex, friends, and fans on gossip sites. He had no idea that he was being manipulated to do her dirty work.
Our relationship slowly turned into me always being asked to go find drama for her, whether it was about Josh, ex-friends, or fans. At the time, I saw this as harmless, and I was just really excited that my favourite person in the entire world wanted to talk to me. Now, looking back though, I can see that it was just a way of baiting me to constantly get me to get her the information.
He thought he was doing a good deed for someone he admired and loved the attention she was giving him, but he only got that attention if he did what he was asked. It sadly led to Adam's name getting besmirched on these sites, and when his parents caught wind of this drama, they told him to distance himself from Colleen at once. Good for them for stepping in. Adam tried to take his parents' advice, but because he was gullible, Colleen and her relatives would find some way to coax him back into doing these favors, whether it is subscribing to his channel, leaving a friendly comment on one of his videos, and stringing him along to believe that he would be flown out to the United States to go to VidCon. It didn't matter to them that he was starting to get upset. He was being treated like an indentured servant when all he wanted was to be acknowledged and respected by his role models. That was only the beginning of Adam's mind getting poisoned.
Or whether it was just sending me a nice message and then I would do it. And because I was dumb, impressionable, young, naive, whatever I want to call it, I have so many names for what I believe I was, I'd always cave, honestly. I try not to be upset with myself because I was 13 to 15 during this time. I'm still really young now, I'm only 17, but looking back, it's hard to not get, like, fix yourself. You know, stop engaging in that, you're being used.
Adam went on to state that in 2016, Colleen and Corey DeSoto, her best friend, stumbled across his Twitter page during a live stream and thought that his tweets were so hilarious they said they needed to send him a bra and panties. Of all bizarre prizes to give away to a young fan, why did it have to be that? Just why? When it arrived, his parents were rightfully upset and his mother confiscated the lingerie. Adam looked back on it at the time of that video with confusion and disgust. If I was Adam's older brother and I found out about this, I would get the immediate impression that Colleen was trying to seduce him and urge him to never speak with her again. I would know that his idolization of her could lead to worse, and it has. Colleen planned to hire Adam as her social media intern after he pitched ideas on tweets she can post as Miranda Sings. Although she said in that DM, "I don't like using your creativity and insight for free," that's what ended up happening. I work with freelance artists to assist me with designing assets for my dark fantasy game series, and not always if they're friends of mine, but usually depending on their preferences, I pay them in advance. In a situation where I can't afford to commission them right away, I wait until I do before they get started. Adam's responsibilities as her intern were pretty basic. He'd tweet on her behalf, reply to fans when necessary, and get them hyped about Miranda Sings. It sounded like his future with the brand was going to be bright. Colleen was despondent that she wasn't posting these tweets when she checked on his progress. Her messages came off as vain, but she did show a little gratitude nonetheless. That was a red flag to me because when I worked with a graphic design firm where I posted on Instagram on behalf of an organization planning an annual classic car show, or for a brand that manufactured hemp products, my supervisors were happy for the extra help. Even though my time with them was short-lived and I was a bit adverse to feedback on occasion, I am thankful that they never gave up on me, kept me around for as long as the firm can afford to, and pushed me to adapt to using social media as a platform to increase visibility for small businesses. After a day, Adam was locked out of the Miranda Sings account and Colleen sent him a message warning him that a tweet about Meghan Trainor didn't sit well with someone that replied to it. I emphasize with Colleen's lamentation that sometimes people can't take a joke, but the account was her responsibility because she owned the Miranda brand, even if Adam used it for a day. If Colleen hired someone in their 20s to tweet on her behalf and this backlash transpired, it would still be on her. Still, he was confused by Colleen's criticism because he shared what he planned to tweet for approval, and she then complimented him for his performance as if she didn't just guilt trip him a moment ago. She deleted the tweets that Adam posted, even though she said she found them hilarious, and he, believing that she was just doing what she thought was best for her character, told her that all is forgiven. He expressed his hope that he could try again the next day. That proved to be a big mistake because Colleen guilt-tripped him a second time. She said she was still getting hate over the tweets he posted on her behalf, and her audience now believes she's homophobic. Adam, like he did when Colleen confided in him about a divorce, had to be the bigger person and comfort her by sending her a reply to assure her that the backlash will eventually simmer down and that fan reception was still positive. Adam wished her the best, and from that point forward, he was disregarded like he meant absolutely nothing to her. A month later, he discovered that Corey, the friend of Colleen from that live stream Adam mentioned when they found his Twitter page, was bad-mouthing him in DMs to his and Colleen's followers. Adam had screenshots of Corey's comments that were sent to him by friends concerned for his well-being, in addition to what Colleen said about him behind his back. She assumed that Adam was behind a troll account set up to send hate to her fans. Adam was a wreck because he has gone for weeks without hearing from her, and when he discovered she was making that claim, that did it. That was the final straw for him. Having felt hurt and betrayed by someone he idolized at a young age, which I cannot blame him for because I've been where he's been several times, he sent Colleen a vitriolic message saying he finally discovered that she lied to him about her interest in working with him and that he no longer wanted anything to do with her. Colleen's treatment of Adam demonstrates that grooming doesn't have to be sexual in nature, but it is usually done through coercion. It killed him to send that message, but it was for the best. How can a child Adam McIntyre's age stand by and let people spread rumors on Twitter that he fractured Colleen's friendships? The deterioration of Miranda Sings' reputation wasn't his fault. It was an ongoing problem that occurred long before he tweeted on that account, yet he's the one who had to answer for it because Colleen let him use it as part of his job. Listening to him reveal that he has been subjected to targeted harassment and that Colleen has attempted to turn fans on each other feels like I'm living in the Hunger Games. A month after Adam shared his experience, in May 2020, Colleen Ballinger uploaded a response video where she addressed this relationship with Adam along with allegations of racism while performing as Miranda Sings. If you listen closely, you'll notice that she apologized not to Adam, but to her fandom and stressed that she sees them as friends. That dynamic summarizes why her interactions with him were imbalanced the instant she shared private details with him about her divorce and her sex life. She admitted that sending him the bra and panties was a silly, stupid mistake that has been blown out of proportion, and that she shouldn't have chosen it as a prize she would give to Adam.
So ridiculous and funny, we laughed about it, and I forgot to send them to him. And eventually he tweeted me asking me for them again. I sent them to him. He put them on over his clothes and posted about them. It was like a big joke within the fandom. I did this publicly. That live stream is still up right now. And I've always given out weird random things in live streams. I've given out a taco costume. I've given out old bobby pins, dirty shoes. A few weeks ago, I sent a fan like a single piece of toilet paper. I've always given away weird stuff. And so in my mind at the time, this was no different than all the other weird stuff I send to my fans as a joke. Now, in hindsight, I see how completely stupid of me. I should have never sent that. I don't know what part of my brain was missing at the time that I thought, oh, this is a normal, silly thing to do. I should have realized and recognized how dumb that was and never sent it to him, no matter how much he asked. But it was never a sneaky, creepy, gross thing that I was doing in secret. It was a silly, stupid mistake that now is being blown way out of proportion.
It may not have been your intention, but it was still gross and creepy that you sent the lingerie. I'm just going to call it that from now on because I cannot say bra and panties when referring to this topic without getting a stomachache.
He also mentioned in his video that his mom was uncomfortable with me, which was surprising and shocking for me to hear because I was always under the impression, due to the things he told me and the things that I saw on the internet, that she not only was aware of our interactions, but she was very supportive of him being a fan of mine. She commented on a photo of him this year at my show saying how it was such a fun night. She gave him a birthday card when he was 16 with me on it, and he let me know multiple times how much his parents loved me and watched my videos. So this was surprising for me to hear because if I had known that, I would have stopped all interactions with him if I ever knew his parents were uncomfortable.
His mother has indeed tried to be supportive, even though she was starting to have misgivings about her behavior. Maybe Adam didn't tell Colleen everything about how his parents felt about her because he didn't want to hurt her feelings. It's common in situations where people that are uncomfortable with their aggressors are afraid to reject them, and to survive, they are forced to be polite. Colleen should have recognized that her favors for Adam have made him uncomfortable and that it wasn't appropriate of her and Corey to send lingerie to a teenager. As an adult, it's not a silly, stupid mistake that's been blown out of proportion. When that occurs and the teenager talks about it, it will compel viewers to look at the situation with disgust and start asking questions.
Another thing I think is important to address from his video is that he did have access to my Miranda Sings Twitter account for one day, not for years, and I want to just go over how that whole situation went down. Over the years, I've loved asking my fans for advice on what I should post for Miranda videos, Miranda tweets, things like that. Quite honestly, you guys are the funniest people that I know, and I love your advice. I love your input. I've taken a handful of suggestions as to what I should tweet as Miranda from my fans over the years, and he is included in that. I used a couple of his tweet ideas many years ago. They did really well. He was super funny, and since then he's asked me multiple times if he can help me out with social media again. I always thought that was really, really sweet, but most of the time I did not engage in those conversations until recently. A couple months ago, he reached out to me and brought up the fact that the Miranda accounts hadn't been as active as they used to be and how he wanted to help me do more social media stuff. So he sent me a whole bunch of edited photos that he had in a folder ready to go for Miranda. He told me about a bunch of funny tweets he wanted to post, and he let me know that he had experience working in social media. He really vetted for himself, and because I'd known him for so many years, I was overexhausted and I don't have all the time I used to have to run all my social media. I thought, you know what, this might be a good situation to test run this and see if this could work out. This wouldn't be the first time I had hired a fan. I love hiring my fans for many reasons. One, they're super freaking talented. Two, they know me better than anybody. And three, I love supporting their dreams and passions in any way that I can. I've hired my fans to design merch. I've hired fans to go on tour with me. I've hired fans to edit things for me. And how hiring my employees works is I usually do a little test run to see how it goes. If it goes well, then I hire them officially through my company and they are paid legally through the corporation. It was no different for him. I wanted to do a little test run. If it went well, then I wanted to hire him.
Then you should have been transparent about it instead of lying to Adam when you promised him he'd be given the job. You got his hopes up and shattered his faith in you because you started gossiping about him behind his back. It's comforting for a public figure to believe that their fans know them better than anyone, but the first question that popped into my mind when Colleen said that was, do you even know them? Yes, it sounds super cool that she has gotten her fans involved with promoting Miranda Sings for extra cash and experience to add to their resumes, but there's a reason why most public figures don't get their fans involved in their careers unless they've taken the precautions necessary to ensure they'll be safe and comfortable while working with them. Last March, Ed Sheeran invited a fan, Luke Giddens, to perform his debut single with him on stage at a concert in London. He recognized him on YouTube as an aspiring songwriter that started out with covering other artists' songs just like he was, and said that whenever he puts out a new song, Luke would be the first to cover it. It was his way of showing this fan gratitude for his support and to wish him luck in his own career. Unlike Colleen Ballinger, Ed didn't put Luke in a position where his safety could be compromised, and the interaction, though spontaneous, went smoothly. He didn't have to invite him on stage, but it was kind of him to give Luke a night to remember. The interactions between Colleen and Adam McIntyre during the time they were working together were destructive to the latter's health. She further addressed letting Adam tweet from a Miranda Sings account by stating she did not blame him for posting the tweet that was taken as queerbaiting when her feedback with him came across as passive-aggressive. I certainly don't blame him for being led to believe that she would guide him as his employer. She threw him under the bus to regain respect she had lost from some of her fans, and then she claims that she cares about him. Hell no. Colleen's decision to tell her side of the situation in that video was a premeditated move to discredit Adam.
I want to see some punishment.
So I gave him access to my account, and he started tweeting stuff for me. And pretty quickly, there was a tweet that was posted that was problematic. This was my fault. He sent me a very long list of a ton of different things he wanted to post, and I did not look over it closely enough. I did not review it closely enough. I remember the moment when I saw all of these things. I was breastfeeding my son, and I kind of just scrolled through and was like, yeah, go for it. Have fun. I trust you. And when he posted it, I put zero blame on him at all. It was my fault. I knew better than to let someone else tweet for me. I should have reviewed closely every single thing that was going to come out of Miranda's mouth. I let him know that I loved him. He did a great job. It was my fault, not his. I publicly apologized for the tweet. I deleted the tweets that were posted that weren't posted from me. I let him know that I was upset, that people were disappointed in me, and then he said he logged out of the account, and that was the end of it. That was the last I heard from him until he sent me the message saying he was really upset with me, and that is when I then responded and got the message from his mom. I care about him so much, just like I care about all my fans that I've interacted with over the years, and I wish him nothing but success and happiness and love. I don't know what he's going through right now, but I don't want him to hurt anymore. He made it very clear in his video that he wants to move on from this and be separated from this whole situation. So let him have that, and let me have the same. It absolutely breaks my heart to see people saying negative things about me interacting with my fans based on this situation.
After Colleen uploaded that apology video, if we can call it that, she was let off the hook. It intensified ire toward Adam to the point where a sympathizer called him a toxic clout chaser. A factor about the aftermath that made me furious was that Colleen said she did not want him to suffer, even though she was, and still is by proxy, the direct cause of that distress. Nowadays, he's stuck to his guns and continued to share his experience on social media as often as he can. He wanted to ensure his voice would not be drowned out by the rumors on Twitter that were costing him his mental health. He has gotten threats directed towards him, his family, his friends, and even his pets for his decision to speak out, and last June, he filed 2 police reports because he had gotten several disturbingly graphic death threats. Colleen's fans were actively searching for his address in hopes of posting it, and lastly, a wellness check was conducted by the local police. Thank goodness he made that video where he said these reports were made, because it got me to understand that this is the reality of his ordeal and that he has made it harder for Colleen's fanbase to smear him. By going out of their way to protect their idol, a mother of 3 children, from a previously devoted fan she screwed over, what they actually did was make Colleen Ballinger look dangerous and threatening. I know I said before that public figures are often not responsible for their fans' actions, even if they claim to say something along the lines of, "This is for Colleen." But the screenshots Adam was sent a few weeks after she discarded him indicated that she mobilized her supporters to force him to stand down and take back what he said.
I just think it's incredibly hypocritical that that was a point that for, 3 years I've been getting backlash for. Like, you subjected this mother to getting threats and, all like this. But whenever it's her core fan base doing it to me, she has no problem.
What makes her dangerous is the fact that she doesn't look dangerous.
As Adam mentioned, while he has been dealing with the increase in threats and has notified both the police and Discord, screenshots from group chats with kids between the ages of 12 to 16 were beginning to leak on social media by fans who've had similar experiences with her. For instance, what kind of grown adult would discuss menstruation with a group of teenagers and poke fun of it? It's degrading and tasteless to young girls that are having these cycles. Many have been bullied at schools and social media by their male peers because they were led to believe that their periods are filthy and nasty. But when that shame is coming from an influential figure like Colleen Ballinger, the isolation and stigma toward menstrual cycles worsens. What prompted more people to speak up was when a smaller YouTuber that previously had bad blood with Adam named Cody Rants uploaded a video called Why I Left the Colleen Ballinger Fandom. Their channel has been wiped clean, so the original video no longer exists, but Adam still has a live stream reacting to that video on his channel, and Centennial World posted a condensed summary on their TikTok page that I'm going to show here. Cody's experience shifted public opinion of Adam McIntyre because both his recollection of Colleen's fandom turning on him and that Colleen herself persuaded Cody to make a video decrying him caused his side of the story to add up. They apologized for not seeing through her manipulation sooner, which I do commend them for, but I agree with Adam that they're not entitled to his forgiveness. Cody Rants was monstrous toward him when he spoke up because they admired Colleen too much to recognize that they were being exploited as well. Their decision to take down their video that covered their experience and has inspired other victims to come forward about their own was a slap in the face to Adam. Old footage from Colleen's shows resurfaced where she behaved inappropriately with kids she invited on stage. A notable segment at one of them that made viewers uncomfortable was that she, as Miranda sings, made a little boy stuff his hand down her pants to grab some snacks and eat them. Ugh.
So why does Miranda Sings go on in these live shows to have children trying to get cheese puffs out of her trousers? Why has she aimed a character at children and then made the show incredibly sexual?
Colleen was right in the middle of her Miranda Sings comedy tour when the posts about her group chats were gaining traction and it began to affect her subsequent shows. During one of her last performances that summer, she was noticeably nervous. She was gripping onto the microphone as if she was hanging from a sea cliff and was keeping her distance from the front row. It wasn't an average show because the stage wasn't decorated and not one kid was invited to participate in a segment, which means she definitely was aware that the screenshots from her group chats were leaked, and she was scared that people that discovered the allegations against her might show up to openly excoriate her. The Twitter account Drama Queen used as a source for her video describing the show in Indianapolis is suspended, but she has part of the original recording up on her channel, which she gets a shout out for because clips from that show are tough to fish for. From listening to the clip she used, the tension between Colleen and the audience was evident, specifically when booing can be heard in the crowd when it ended. Wow. Someone on Reddit that was in the audience stated that the show felt too short.
Just kind of a few years in general, life is crazy. There's so many things to say, and I'm not going to say those things right now, but I do want to say that I am so appreciative of you guys, and I'm very grateful. Even though I already said that, I'm saying it again. It's one of the times, another time in my life where you guys have shown me a lot of love and support, as when we're all going through the pandemic together.
As you can also hear, she is sounding nervous as anything. We can also hear in a clip that somebody has booed her.
Oh, someone's booing. Someone's booing. Someone's booing. Someone's booing. Someone is booing.
Security was slightly more tight because they were trying to stop attendees from recording. How they were enforcing it is something that I can't put my finger on. It was still a big turnout, but Colleen told security it was fine before thanking them for their efforts to keep her safe. Other than that, she seemed more concerned and nervous than she was at her previous shows. Earlier that day, according to Adam McIntyre, she suddenly left one of her Winnie's group chats. It wasn't the chat that he was a part of, but a more recent one that she was active in up until 4 a.m. Colleen was since dead silent. It seemed like she knew that the best action to take on her end was not to say anything about the allegations. She hasn't tweeted since last December, she didn't post on TikTok since May, and her last post on Instagram before November was on May 29th, so it seemed like the backlash was going to simmer down and her reputation would go back to normal like she did in her apology video from 3 years ago, but the situation has changed. Now we have concrete, disturbing evidence that supports Adam McIntyre's side of the situation. It gave audiences a new, unsettling perspective on her books.
When you put this book into context of all the allegations surrounding Colleen now, and I keep wanting to say Colleen Hoover, oh god, she's been on my mind too much recently with all the books with all the videos I've made on her. But with all the allegations against Colleen Ballinger at the moment, and her being inappropriate with children, crossing boundaries with teens, sending inappropriate content to teenagers and young people and children, even the more, I guess, like, not dramatic allegations, but people have criticised her for things like, exploiting her children on her family channel and stuff like that. With all these allegations against her, this book really, really isn't doing her any favours. No.
Rachel Oates did an excellent review of Self-Help where she said that even though it's supposed to be a parody of an average self-help book, the content is strange if not off-putting and it's borderline predatory. Several users in the comment section of that video denied that the book was published for children, despite the fact that they are Colleen's target demographic, and a reviewer that's in the Amazon influencer program outright described it as resembling a children's book and plainly recommended it for young audiences.
Self-Help by Miranda sings. This is one of the best books if you are working on yourself and you need a little manual on life. I think it's a very good read. I love the way she designs the pages to look, it's almost like a kid book. Like, it's almost like a book for a young child, but trust me, as an adult, it is a beautiful read, and I guess as a child, it should be a good read as well.
Rachel and I got into an argument with one where we both explained that a screenshot with proof was included in the video, and a link to Amazon's UK website that specifically noted that Self-Help was published by Simon & Schuster's Children Division. I chimed in and said it keeps a catalog on its official website and the book was listed there. Simon & Schuster didn't make it clear, but on the book's page it is categorized as a pictorial, also known as picture books that are shelved in children's sections in school and public libraries. The user's intentional disregard of that factor when the evidence is right in front of us contributes to the narrative that Adam McIntyre has made dragging Colleen Ballinger down the focal point of his YouTube career. On June 28th, she made a fruitless, foolish attempt to regain respect by releasing a catchy but guilt-tripping song titled The Toxic Gossip Train. Interesting that she would call out her accusers as being toxic while exhibiting toxic behavior and playing the ukulele at the same time.
So a lot of people are saying some things about me that aren't quite true. Doesn't matter if it's true though, just as long as it's entertaining to you. Right? You guys having fun? All aboard the toxic gossip train. You're chugging down the tracks of misinformation. The toxic gossip train. You got a one-way ticket to manipulation station. Toxic gossip train. Tie me to the tracks and harass me for my past. Cause rumors look like facts. If you don't mind the gaps, I won't survive in the crash. But hey, at least you're having fun.
If there's one thing that Adam McIntyre, her other victims, and other YouTubers covering the situation are having fun with, it's that they're not afraid of Colleen sympathizers coming after them anymore. They're rejoicing that she's been caught and that she made herself look devoid of remorse. I pridefully watched a video filmed at a party celebrating Adam's 21st birthday where he looked smug when Colleen's non-apologetic video was playing on a flat-screen TV, and the guests were singing along to it. It totally made the suffering he endured the past 3 years rewarding for him. I don't support making a mockery of anyone's suffering, but when I look at it from Adam's point of view, I understand how fantastic it feels to lead a better life than someone that exploited you, especially when they could get in trouble with the law for it. As expected, Colleen's fanbase felt threatened that their idol is facing defeat, and their harassment began to get more aggressive. Tweets like, "No matter how Colleen addresses the situation, it's not good enough for your people," don't mean shit because they're proof that her fanbase thinks that level of immaturity from a woman in her 30s is excusable. It's not like she knocked a liter of soda off a shelf at a supermarket and spilled it on the floor. It's an accident that can be laughed at, and other customers and store employees would tell that person, "Don't stress about it, it's no big deal." But taking advantage of kids by discussing adult topics with them through social media and sending Adam lingerie regardless of intent are what many, including consumers, parents, and the police, would consider to be a big deal, and dismissing them as some silly mistakes undermines the traumatic effect it has on these kids. This quote tweet that responded to the tweet I restated is an accurate summary of how beside myself I am that anyone thinks the kids were the ones being backhanded, and I agree with that user. None of these actions that are alleged to have happened are stupid mistakes. I may not be perfect, but Colleen was the one that sent Adam McIntyre lingerie, tricked him into doing free labor for her, and sent inappropriate messages to kids. Allegedly, of course. So, yeah. Can't forgive that. Likewise, stating that a victim is obsessed with their abuser by continuing to talk about their experience is both insensitive and dangerous. It's easier said than done to tell them not to dwell on their trauma because the abuse leaves negative effects on their emotional and physical health that can follow them for life. These can range from depression to life-threatening signs like suicide ideation. These effects can be managed by talking it out in therapy and taking medication. However, trauma linked to an abusive relationship cannot be cured overnight like a paper cut or the common cold. Even when their abuser got their just desserts, aka Colleen Ballinger was let off with a slap on the wrist and the duration of her tour getting canceled, the trauma is still there. It's okay if it doesn't disappear, and it's completely valid for a victim to talk about how they feel no matter how often they do it. Adam McIntyre transformed his trauma into courage to raise awareness of Colleen's misdeeds, and of course, knowing how society treats victims of abuse perpetrated by a public figure, he suffered for it. I'm bewildered that he is able to laugh it off as a coping mechanism. I can't do that to heal from the emotional abuse I endured 3 years ago for the life of me, and there's nothing wrong with that either. The point I'm establishing is that how a survivor chooses to move past their experience is not a one-size-fits-all. It's like what Professor Maribel Garlick said to the player's avatar in Hogwarts Legacy. We each bloom in our own way. An ableist user named Flop-Based Parody that claimed they sided with Adam took a rambunctious approach to discredit him by handing out insults to people that stand with him like a store hands out coupons. Their use of the R word to insinuate their opponents are incapable of reading comprehension, and I quote this tweet, "Ableism, when I can literally reclaim that word," has made it clear that they are only interested in putting blame on Adam no matter how they will be perceived, which demonstrates a stark superiority complex. Reclaiming the use of that word for yourself does not change its definition, and it doesn't change how others will react to it. A colleague that used to teach with my grandmother filled in as a substitute in my vocational education class in high school for a long while, and I recall on the first day she taught us that if we use the R word, we don't know who we are insulting. In this case, it doesn't look like Flop-Based cares if that's what it takes for them to absolve Colleen Ballinger of responsibility. This thread started when Flop-Based Parody tweeted this reply to Adam McIntyre. "I don't get it. If she's so horrible and traumatized you, then why do you revolve everything around her and keep milking your supposed quote-unquote abuse? We're off to a bad start." This person replied, "Thank goodness they did their homework. I'm sorry, if you were manipulated, groomed, and betrayed as a child by a grown woman who you had nothing but love for, would you also not want justice or at least a fucking apology? Get off the internet and find some compassion, as they should." But Flop-Based Parody continued, "He already got justice? Everyone was on his side, including me." No, you weren't. You sound absolutely dumb. Look who's talking. Stop dodging the point. He's not doing any favors for himself by being obsessed and revolving his whole life around his abuser. He needs help, and so do you with this awful mindset. I'm an epileptic guy who's a master in the winter. I have trouble regulating my emotions. I habitually talk to myself, and I'm still dealing with my ex's insecurities that have rubbed off on me. These are issues that I need help managing in order to interact with others so I don't lose control. What I don't need to get help for is sticking up for a survivor of child abuse. Psychologists that study the effects of that kind of maltreatment and workers employed in domestic violence shelters have confirmed that contrary to Flopbase's ill-founded tweets, allowing a victim to continuously share their story helps their healing process, and it weakens the power the abuse has over them. Being supportive of their decisions shows that I have integrity, a rock-solid moral fiber, and I don't like seeing vulnerable people be easy pickings to public figures, which is something they and their Twitter stans can't wrap their skulls around. Adam is still waiting for a sincere apology from Colleen Ballinger while her fanbase is asking for him to stop talking about her, and believe me, if it's a hill you want to die on, you're showing me you're just as despicable as she is by casually ignoring the people she's hurt and doing her work for her, now whose mindset is awful. In fact, a lot of people that believe Colleen hasn't done anything wrong and that Adam is a clout-pursuing stalker either doesn't understand the gravity of the allegations she's facing, or they know what's going on, but it is somehow her victim's fault that her career is in shambles. What's particularly worrisome about this thread isn't the stigma against the disabled it perpetuates, though that is a major part of it. It's that, as Adam McIntyre mentioned, he's not the only individual that Colleen allegedly screwed over, and Flopbase is so ignorant about the situation that they acted like he was. She may have more victims that the public at large isn't aware of, it's just that they haven't come forward to protect their privacy, and so they don't receive the same backlash Adam has. Honestly, I don't blame the reluctance. Speaking of Flopbase's use of the R-word, the notion that Colleen supposedly based Miranda Sings off of a disabled relative is off-putting. A TikToker named Jenna made note of this in a video where she pointed out that Miranda's characteristics reinforce stereotypes that normalizes ableist attitudes. It probably wasn't Colleen Ballinger's intention, but Flopbase's juvenile tweets on my right causes Jenna's argument that the fandom deliberately ignores the disabled community to hit heavy.
Colleen Ballinger's character of Miranda Sings is ableist. As an autistic person, I've always been put off by her character, but I couldn't identify why until recently. Nearly the entire concept behind her character is based on mocking disabled people. She imitates characteristics such as speech impediments, lacking social awareness, having trouble with coordination, having a slow processing speed, and struggling with comprehension. This further perpetuates stereotypes that are used to marginalize people with disabilities. Portraying traits of disabilities as something that has comedic value and should be laughed at harms disabled people and normalizes ableist attitudes. It doesn't matter if it's intentional or not, because the impact is still the same regardless. But this isn't the first time that this topic has been brought up. Colleen and her supporters actively choose to ignore the disabled community.
Though that thread was there, since Adam tweeted a link to his video where he reacted to Colleen's return to vlogging after a 5-month hiatus, Vanity Fair published an article on July 19th that mirrored Flopbase's rationalization for placing him at fault, all because he still wants his apology. The article was condemned for its heavy bias in favor of Colleen, inaccuracy of details that touch on the allegations, and failing to reach out to its victims for a statement. Everyone that virtually checked out the article could tell the journalist that wrote it was vouching for Colleen, and has not so discreetly confirmed it when he blocked Adam on Instagram. In a live stream where Adam read the article for the first time, he was suspicious that Vanity Fair only reached out to Colleen and her team, not to the children she's hurt. That's a red flag that the publication, or the journalist for that matter since he wrote the article, has not done their due diligence. Huffington Post, however, did just that by giving everyone on both sides a fair chance to speak in their article, including Colleen, and this is how ethical journalism works. As much as I don't think she should be given that platform so she wouldn't continue manipulating the public, it's commendable that they wanted to cover the situation as accurately as possible.
Wait.
Wait. Wait. I know someone in chat just think the same thing that I... Someone in chat saying the same thing that I thought. You didn't miss that, right? You didn't miss that. This interview that's like defending her just said from things like performing a Beyonce song in blackface to sending a sex worker's nudes photos to a minor. Colleen's legal team deny that she ever performed in blackface. It was green face paint. Why would... Do they realize how bad this makes her legal team look? They have just presented them with two things. The Beyonce blackface and sending sex photos to a minor. And the legal team choose to say that she didn't perform in blackface, completely ignoring the other thing. So not denying the other one. Which is not shocking to me, obviously. It was me that was done to. But to you, I hope if you had any bit of doubt... Jesus.
Vanity Fair, on the other hand, paints Colleen as a victim of a smear campaign by exclusively including her legal team's response to an allegation that she wore blackface while performing a cover of Beyonce's Single Ladies as Miranda Sings, and brought up an incident where she sent nude photos of another influencer from her OF to a teenager. This is a more serious accusation that I'm dying to talk about because it bothers me that Colleen has supposedly done that and is still allowed to look after her own kids. Her legal team has only responded to the blackface accusation by stating her face was actually painted green, but has been dead silent about another victim receiving explicit photos from someone that didn't consent to it. Adam realized that their silence could hint that they never clarified her messages in her group chats were fake. We're going to get to that in a few minutes. As the next day on Twitter, the article Vanity Fair published slammed Adam as some dumb kid that wanted his 15 minutes of fame. That is a disparaging portrayal that's going to give public figures that abuse their power leeway to violate their victims and encourage the greater fandom to cut them off from their support network. I'm not claiming Colleen deserved that mockery because poking fun of her alleged exploitation won't automatically do justice for her victims. But to be fair, she brought this on herself by failing to take her team's advice and play the ukulele on camera. The journalist's profile on Vanity Fair is left blank, so I couldn't get a sense of his background right off the bat, but I did find a blurb on his official website where he described himself to be a writer, educator, and performer working in Los Angeles. He attended the Bennington Writing Seminars where he received his MFA in nonfiction writing. He's currently receiving his master's at the Perpentine School of Education to teach English literature in LA secondary schools. He's passionate about teaching adolescents how to read great literature and write essays which reflect an authentic engagement with art, themselves, and their world. I expected more from him. As many of you have guessed from looking him up on Twitter, his article dragging down Adam McIntyre on top of blocking him has costed him his credibility in the journalism world. I wouldn't want someone like him teaching English classes in secondary schools if he's showing sympathy for a big YouTuber that took advantage of teenagers that admired her. No need to go into the journalist's contact page and send him hate. He's proven he can't be trusted to be fair-minded. The chances he'll get the teaching job he wanted might be slimmer, and that's punishment enough. The mockery of toxic gossip trains spawned a wave of parodies, AI covers featuring greedy characters like Mr. Krabs and Eric Cartman, covers in other music genres, and reaction videos made by licensed therapists and attorneys. Along with Terminally Silly's parody on TikTok where she reprimands Colleen for refusing to take her team's advice, Adam's response video would have to be my favorite because he refutes Colleen's contempt by reiterating his own experiences and what really happened.
Hi everyone.
Hey!
I've been wanting to come online and talk to you about a few things.
Have you? It's been 4 weeks.
Even though my team has strongly advised me to not say what I want to say.
Is the team in question some more 13-year-olds? Or just Corey? Seriously, who's the team? They approved this video?
I recently realized that they never said that I couldn't sing what I want to say.
I'm sure if they knew you were going to sing, they would tell you not to do that as well, but... The toxic gossip train!
A reaction video that impressed me for its educational value would have to be an informative piece made by Chou, a lawyer that previously represented Disney and BuzzFeed News. She holds a great deal of empathy for Colleen's victims, but doesn't let her emotions get in the way of explaining the situation from a legal standpoint. I admire her level-headedness, and it's a quality she possesses that allows me to respect her as a professional. It's obvious why people that are accused of a crime as heavy as putting children in harm's way are advised not to discuss it. Besides their image being ridiculed in parody videos, talking about it provides law enforcement more evidence to work with, and she downplayed her actions by claiming that her victims speaking out are cashing in on her misery, when on the contrary, the video where she plays Toxic Gossip Train, which sits at 16 million views as of this recording, is monetized, and it's made her a small fortune. Since Ethan Klein tweeted his reaction video on the H3 podcast channel was copyright claimed by Colleen Ballinger herself, a conspiracy theory went around that claimed she made that video so she could release it on music streaming platforms and have it copyrighted so that she'd profit off of the videos that cover the allegations against her. Colleen's legal team denied she authorized the release, and they didn't have a clue how it was available there. They vowed to take action to have Toxic Gossip Train removed from these platforms, so just as quickly as the song was released, it has disappeared. You can try looking it up on iTunes if you're curious. You'll just find remixes and covers released by other artists, as well as a lighthearted satire single recorded by Kevin Leonardo that made me chuckle. Though I used to work at a consolidated school as an IT assistant, I'm unsure if someone hacked Colleen to troll YouTubers, or she put out the song as suspected, but her legal team panicked and advised her that attempting to get rid of coverage of the allegations would solidify her guilt. Maybe it was an overzealous fan that had the song released, knowing how enthusiastic some of them were to inhibit Adam McIntyre's ability to function as a human being. In Chou's initial video, she discusses the repercussions Colleen could potentially face and has already faced. I'll be rehashing the arguments she raised and elaborate on them because I felt that some of the aspects of her points were missing. My experience attending virtual meet and greets got me to visualize how Colleen may still thrive on the internet, even if she cannot salvage her reputation, so I wanted to go over that in case the situation reoccurs. The first outcome Tyler brought up was that Colleen has lost fans. Since the screenshots of her group chats were leaked, her following has begun to plummet. Her views on her vlog channel have gotten steadily lower, and her subscriber count is slowly shrinking, but it's not massive enough for her source of income to be cut off. At least, not immediately. Colleen's not going anywhere because she still has a largely devoted fanbase that genuinely believes she didn't do anything, and she has raised money for a childhood cancer fundraiser she started. On that note, I can see her holding one-on-one video chats and virtual Miranda shows on Zoom if she's blacklisted from performing in venues in the future. That brings me to discuss the second outcome that Tyler mentioned in her video. Several brands have stopped sponsoring her. Skincare company OneSkin issued this statement to TMZ. We were made aware of this previously and have decided to cease the relationship completely. This behavior is appalling and we do not condone or support it in any form. Neither do I, and good for OneSkin. Viewers are petitioning Disney to release an updated version of Ralph Breaks the Internet without Colleen's cameo and pull the original from availability. There is speculation that Netflix might pull her shows from a streaming service, but I checked and they're still available, so only time will tell if they decide to make that decision. Tyler said that Colleen could face bad luck trying to score another sponsorship deal because many companies are reluctant to hire someone that has allegedly endangered one or multiple children. I believe she might additionally be blacklisted from most, if not all, auditions for movies and shows, particularly where child actors are expected to be on the cast. Last year, for example, Disney Channel immediately removed a protagonist's grandfather from Andy Mack when the news broke that his actor, Stoney Westmoreland, got arrested for attempting to arrange an intimate meeting with a 13-year-old boy. Likewise, demand for Colleen's subsequent shows was so low that tickets began to cost as little as $3 to $5. Not long afterwards, Vulture reported that the duration of her tour has been canceled. Each venue put out a statement on their website stating that the reason for the cancellation was due to unforeseen circumstances. That can mean anything. It is a vague explanation that raises suspicion in my head, but it is speculative that the allegations against Colleen was brought to the venue's attention, and they withdrew her contracts with them. Now we're at the more serious allegation briefly mentioned in Vanity Fair's article, and it factors into the third outcome that talent Chou brought up in her video, and what could happen to Colleen, and one that is least likely to occur. Losing fans, getting blacklisted from brand deals, and definitely future auditions, and the cancellation of her comedy tour is nothing when Colleen has many more fans that treat Adam's mockery of her as gospel that he's fibbing. That kind of support is a tool that Colleen can and might exploit again if criminal charges haven't been filed against her. That depends on if the other victims will forward the stories they shared with us to the authorities, as well as her motive for having quote-unquote viewing parties and her interactions with Johnny Silvestri, the teenager that was sent the nude photos of Trisha Paytas, the influencer in question. It's difficult to determine if Colleen's behavior toward Adam McIntyre, the kids in the Weenies group chats, and her treatment of kids she invited on stage could be classified as CSA, though the incidents involving these photos of Trisha could be a felony per California Penal Code 647J4, which outlaws revenge porn in the state. That penal code is defined as anyone who intentionally distributes images of the intimate body parts of an identifiable person, or images that depict them engaging in sexual intercourse, sodomy, oral copulation, sexual penetration, or masturbation, in circumstances where they agree or understand the images will remain private, then they distribute the images knowing they will cause serious emotional distress, is guilty of revenge porn. Trisha Paytas was made aware that Colleen sent these photos of her, and as a result, she uploaded a video to her channel where she said she was embarrassed to have discovered that Colleen is the kind of person that used these photos to make fun of her, and that moving forward she'll no longer associate with her. Until now, I found Trisha to be disagreeable, but I felt a change of heart for her when she discussed struggling with emotional dysregulation and has spent the past several years working on her triggers by staying away from online drama. Colleen Ballinger was a good friend that Trisha felt she could relate to because she understood what it feels like to be hated online, which factors into how betrayed she felt when she found that she leaked her nude photos and sent them to Johnny. She firmly believed from experience that people can change, only for her to be dragged into that dark place all over again. Not by just a handful of random haters, but a fellow mother that she worked with and felt a connection with. Her feelings were shattered, but it didn't stop her from addressing the leaks maturely by speaking up for the kids that saw these photos. I know what it feels like to have been betrayed by more than a few people that I valued before, so from listening to Trisha tell her story, I can tell how upset and frustrated she was from the sound of her voice. If I find myself seeing eye to eye with her for a change, it shows how vile this situation is.
And I hate putting any energy into this, but it's very, very serious. It's very serious. And it's a topic I don't take lightly and I can't take lightly, as I am a full-time sex worker. I don't think that's a secret. It's not as advertised as it once was, but we already have a lot of stigma, misconceptions, allegations against us as sex workers. And so I need to nip this in the bud, that I do not condone at all unsolicited nudes, sending unsolicited nudes to anyone of anybody, sex worker or not. I think using someone's nudes as a way to hurt them, make fun of them, make light of them, be mean is the lowest form of human, the lowest form of intelligence. I think that's so inhumane. I think that's so disgusting for anyone. Last night, the text messages were shown, and it's very clearly from Colleen to a fan. Has over 500,000 views on Twitter that I'm not embarrassed by. I'm embarrassed for her. I try to take myself out of these equations when I'm feeling triggered. And if I were to look at it as it happening to someone else, I wouldn't be humiliated for the person in the photos. I'd be humiliated for the person who sent them. Although it can be humiliating for the person in the photos as well. And it somewhat is embarrassing. I get made fun of all the time for my body, my nudes, even under this person's posts. While I'm thankful he posted them so I could see that this is real, it's hearing all that horrible stuff underneath the photo, like about my body just being messed up or disgusting, and it's a lot. Yes, I'm a sex worker, and yes, I chose this job, and yes, I make money doing it, but it never feels good to have someone just like make fun of your naked body. It's just a really vulnerable thing, and it is a little embarrassing, if I'm being honest, but I'm more embarrassed for her that this is the kind of person she is. Like, I'm so embarrassed. Sending these to fans unsolicited, the context of which she was sending these, I don't get the purpose. I don't know if there was an inside joke I'm missing on this. The fan said, "Hey, congratulations on becoming parents." Which a month later, she just responds with a nude of me and says, "You look so pretty in this." And these weren't a long time ago. This is someone well into their 30s, just gave birth sending nudes. And a month prior, I was in her house meeting her child and doing a mukbang, meeting her newborn and doing a mukbang with her. In these texts, there's also friends of hers. They showed the viewing parties that were talked about to make fun of me. They did viewing parties of my adult content to make fun of me. And there's a friend of hers who I actually met as well back in 2018 with his face posing next to explicit images of me. And there was a video of it, and it's a lot. It's a lot. And it wasn't just one occasion, there was multiple times that she sent just different photos in different positions of me. I did ask her about these a couple weeks ago before there was the proof, so to speak, right? And she assured me that she had never sent photos of me, that this one fan who was underage at the time would send photos to her. She's like, "No, he was a fan. He sent photos to me and he was obsessed with you." And he would just send me it, and once in a while I'd like respond to him and be like, "Hey, okay." That's what she told me a couple weeks ago. There's a clip of her saying she saw a whale squirt, and she wasn't talking about Trisha Paytas. I sent her that as well, and she said everything's taken out of context, like these are lies. And being as I was like her friend and I knew her as a person, I was trusting her, I guess. Because, I mean, overall, who do you trust? Like this person you know in real life, or people you don't know anything about? I guess that's why there's that whole innocent until proven guilty thing. So there was two options there for her to say, like, yeah, that was a while ago, I was a hater. I mean, I'm the first to say, like, I've definitely have been a hater in the past. I've been miserable in my own life. I've been going through shit in my own life in the past. And I was miserable and I've hated on people, for sure. Not people that I would go and, like, be at their house and, like, do a whole podcast with. But sure, I can understand people you know, gossiping or making fun of people. I don't understand the making fun of bodies. That's weird. It's weird. I don't get those texts at all. Like, I look at those and I'm like so confused. Like, okay, I'm the joke. My naked body's the joke, I guess. Okay. I don't know. It's very odd. But I kind of gave her outs because I was like, hey, like, you know, you've talked crap about me. That's fine. We weren't that close back then, I guess. Like, you know, whatever. And she vehemently denied, no, I never sent pictures of you. Like, the underage fan would send me pictures of you, not specifying if they were nude or not. The text came out last night, and my heart started racing. I was triggered. I haven't been triggered in a while, and I was triggered. My heart was racing, my stomach, I was sick to my stomach, and I don't know, I guess seeing stuff like that, that's probably the worst I've seen from someone that I've like considered a friend. Like, it's pretty barbaric. It's pretty misogynistic. And it is downright cruel. It's a low level of a person to say that stuff. And again, this isn't years ago. This is, you know, someone well into their 30s. It's not a child. It's not a Kim.
Tyler Chou believed that Colleen may have also violated Penal Code 288.2 since the photos were sent to kids in an age group that's barely old enough to own a driver's license. The infractions described in both 288.2 and 647J4 can carry heavy penalties if Colleen is found guilty in a court of law, and that's why it's no accident that she hired high-profile attorney Andrew Brettler. For her to hire an attorney with the reputation of representing public figures accused of and found guilty of SAs such as Prince Andrew, Bryan Singer, and Bill Cosby, to name a few, isn't something anyone supporting Colleen Ballinger to gloat to a victim about. It's an indicator that she no longer cares about her reputation and is instead focused on doing everything in her power to avoid prison. As much as I want to see her pay for what she's done, both figuratively and literally in a criminal trial, the chances her alleged victims will see justice aren't looking good. In order for that to happen, a grand jury would have to unanimously agree that Colleen was in the wrong, and there could be a couple of members that won't believe for a minute that a privileged woman who's a mother of 3 young kids has tricked Adam McIntyre into working for her for free and has sent nude photos of Trisha Paytas to her minor fans to get a cheap laugh. Watching Trisha have to live with it made me want to scream on the inside. If Donald Trump and Brett Kavanaugh are allowed to run for and hold high positions of authority in the U.S. government despite accusations of violating multiple women that span back decades, what makes us think that charges will be pressed against Colleen Ballinger for her alleged behavior? Hope is not all lost, though, because the people she's hurt can still file civil cases against her to receive compensation for the suffering they endured because of her and her fandom attacking them after they spoke out. If Colleen were to sue a publication or a YouTuber for covering the situation, it's possible that Adam and her other victims, as well as Trisha, might be served witness subpoenas. It would be pointless for Colleen and her legal team to try and refute their experiences in court because although we have no idea what her intentions were in the group chats, Adam has stated a couple of times the messages Colleen sent were legitimate. That could be the only way he'll get the apology that he wanted from her since he first came forward. Colleen did apologize a subsequent time when she returned to vlogging before Thanksgiving, but once again, she only apologized to her fandom. The 3-minute introduction was her way of washing her hands of her alleged misdeeds. She'll carry on with her life as if nothing happened over the summer. In the video, it appeared that she finally acknowledged the allegations against her and she wanted to be seen as an example of someone that can learn from their mistakes. Never, though, does she acknowledge Adam McIntyre and the other victims because that would seal the deal that she's guilty and she cannot bring it upon herself to admit that.
Hello, everybody. Sorry I've been gone for so long. I've really missed this. I've missed talking to everyone every single day. Obviously, the last video that I posted on here It's really embarrassing, to say the least. I was being accused of some pretty awful things, and I just was mad, and I should have handled that situation with maturity and empathy, but instead I just let my ego take over, and I'm really disappointed in myself.
What's there to be embarrassed about if the ukulele video's still up on your channel? And where's the empathy? Certainly you didn't put yourself in Adam's shoes and think of what would happen if some perverted stranger messaged your kids. As Adam McIntyre told you in his angry DM to you, one that hurt him to type, would you be okay with someone doing that to Flynn when he reaches that age? The thought of you saying yes is worrisome.
So, here's what I want to say today. Over the last 15 years of my career, there have been moments where I was immature and inappropriate with some of my comedy, and there were times when I did not put enough thought into some of my fan interactions, and because of that behavior, people got hurt, and I am so sorry. I never wanted to hurt anybody, but it's clear that I did, and I feel so terrible about that. I also feel like there's probably people who are disappointed or feel abandoned by me because of my silence over the last few months. And I'm so sorry about that as well. I needed to take time to make sure I was listening and learning as much as possible. And I also needed to get the help that I needed to be okay. I'm a mom first and foremost before anything else. And I needed to take care of my kids. So that's where I've been, and but I'm back and I'm here now, and I am not a perfect person, and there are plenty of things in my past that I wish I could go back and redo and fix and change. I don't have control over any of that, and I don't have control over the things people say about me. I only have control over my actions moving forward. And so I'm going to do everything that I can to make sure that I create a positive, kind, inclusive, safe space online with my content. And if you want to be a part of my journey online, I would love to have you. And if not, I completely understand. I do not expect anyone to welcome me back with open arms. I don't expect to change anyone's mind with this video. I just wanted to come on here and say that I'm sorry. And I wanted to try to show people that it's possible for someone to grow and learn and be better after making mistakes many, many years ago. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to vlog again, and today I'm just going to film my day and share some simple, happy moments and, start the process of starting over. And I know it's going to be awkward and clunky at first as I try to get back into the swing of things, but I'm going to try. So that's what I'm going to do. And thank you for listening, and thank you to anyone who supported me in any capacity over the last 15 years. I've really, really appreciated it. But yeah, let's get started with the day and see what happens, I guess. I honestly do not know how to transition from this conversation into a vlog, but let's try.
Adam uploaded his response video to that vlog the next day, stating that she only posted this to keep her channel monetized because based on YouTube's monetization guidelines, if there is an activity on the channel for 6 months, the owner won't be able to profit off of it until they reapply. He went on to allege that she uploaded that video during a time where he would be asleep and journalists would go on break for the weekend, so she'd gain more sympathy from her fandom and the public.
So we're starting this off with a lie, by the way. She said that she is so embarrassed on how she handled the Toxic Gossip Train video, but we are 5 months in, and the video is still up on her YouTube channel and is actually her most profitable video that she has posted. It is her most watched video on this channel, so it is her most profitable video. She is not embarrassed of it. She didn't let her ego take over or whatever it is. She is proud of the video. The video is still up. That point is a bold-faced lie, and to say that and not having deleted the video even just before you posted this one, like even if you wanted to get all the attention on it and then delete it before this video, the fact that it's still up goes to show that she's lying, and all she cares in this entire thing was that she got attention.
Adam dubs the fall vlog video as a slap in the face for that reason, on top of how she isn't at all embarrassed by the toxic gossip train due to how hugely profitable it continues to be, and that her decision to hire Andrew Brettler shows that the first few minutes of that video is deceptive on her part. The only reason she's humiliated and feigned vulnerability in the comfort of her bedroom is that her actions are now in the public knowledge. She's been caught red-handed, and even with this lawyer representing her, there's nothing she can do to erase conversations that are being had about the situation.
So, she is so sorry for the fans that she has hurt from her inappropriate behavior, yet she hired Prince Andrew's lawyer to try silence all the stories. Colleen Ballinger hired Andrew Brettler, who is infamously the lawyer that works with people in Hollywood that are being accused of very, 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 very bad things. We're talking Armie Hammer's lawyer, Prince Andrew's lawyer. The list goes on and on and on. She hired this person's lawyer. She does not care that she has hurt people. She does not care that she has specifically went out of her way to ruin people's childhoods and inflict such inappropriate, manipulative, exploitative behaviors onto them. She does not care about that. So much so that in 2020, when this originally came out and she started the dogpile on the internet against me, and in 2023 when she was hiring Prince Andrew's lawyer, because that does not make sense with, if you're so sad about the story and you had to take time to reflect and stuff, you hired a lawyer that infamously works with these kind of people. And I'm bringing that up because obviously people are going to forget that because it was a couple months ago, but I have not forgot that. I've not forgotten that.
Predictably, Colleen's fans are still sour he's talking about her and are still claiming that he's obsessed with her, like what Flop-Based Parody has done in their replies. They've made it clear that no matter how abusive and ridiculous their arguments are, they'll continue to worship the ground she walks on. It's incredibly fortunate that Adam isn't letting our fans' hate tweets bother him anymore. Colleen said that she'd be understanding if people are unwilling to welcome her back with open arms, but her fans are more than happy to try and force them to, since I spotted several comments from a user in Adam's video that's a bunch of word salad, saying that we're all wrong, we'll always be wrong, and we need to leave Colleen alone. You wish. New videos were uploaded to her vlog channel almost daily since she issued that apology. My heart sank when I took a look at a vlog that Colleen posted on December 4th where she and her toddlers had decorated ornaments on the Christmas tree and watched them open tiny doors in a couple of advent calendars. If I wasn't aware of the allegations or I chose to ignore them, I think the time they're spending as a family is adorable. But the more I look at her kids' smiles, the more apprehensive I started to get. The way Colleen started talking about getting into collecting crystals as a hobby and has done a Q&A with her fans through her phone is an indicator that she's definitely trying to convince her viewers that the group chat never existed. When her kids are at an age where they go to school, face the real world, and their mother's actions start to hang over their heads, it's going to leave a mark on them. They won't look at her as the loving woman that raised them if they were to read about how she has wronged her fans, and Adam McIntyre in particular. The answer that Colleen gave when asked a question about a quote that she thinks about often that made me quiver with fear for her son Flynn was that he told her, "Be brave, Mama," while they're playing a game. She claimed that this quote helped her through tough times, and while I can relate to finding solace in thinking back to something someone I cared about told me to keep my chin up, Colleen's answer came off as using Flynn to appear sympathetic. It's exactly the narrative that would sway a grand jury to dismiss a criminal case against her.
Hope you're okay, said Colleen. Is there a specific phrase or quote you've been told that you rethink often or that has helped you through something? Absolutely. So, there's a few things, I guess, that have helped me a lot. There's books that I've read, podcasts that I've listened to that have helped me through things, but the number one thing that has helped me through, like, everything, it's something that Flynn actually said to me a long time ago. Oh no, Mayday. It's something that Flynn said to me a long time ago, and I told it in a vlog, like, a million years ago. He was really young at the time. I don't remember how old he was, but we were playing a game, and he was hiding under a trampoline, and I was like, oh no, I don't want to go under the trampoline, I'm too scared. And he looked me right in my eyeballs, and with the most sincere, sweet, just perfect little face, he goes, be brave, mama. And it was so, it like I felt like I was gonna choke. I was like, like it was like the most intense, powerful, sweetest little moment ever. So anyway, he said it to me again recently. Well, not recently, I guess it was, oh my gosh, do I want to tell this story right now? I don't know. I guess I will. I don't know. I almost got a tattoo. I very, very much almost got a tattoo because of how much that means to me. Just 2 words, be brave. So, oh my gosh, this is a long story. I don't know if I want to tell right now, but I guess I'll start and see what happens. Who knows, maybe I'll cut it out. But I was doing a show, a live show. This is probably 6 months ago, and Flynn actually came with me to the show, and I have footage of this. There was a lot going on at the time, and I was not doing well, and I was really scared and paranoid and nervous, and was having a lot of really bad panic attacks. And not panic attacks like how people go like, oh my god, I'm having a panic attack, I'm freaking out. Like literal, like doctors had to get involved panic attacks where like my face would go numb and I would like almost faint and black out and couldn't, like they were really scary. So anyway, long story short, I was really nervous to do live shows. I was getting some really scary threats, and I honestly was just like scared for my own safety. And anyway, I was talking to Eric at the hotel after the show, and I just was like, I was so terrified to go on stage tonight. I was so terrified. And Flynn is sitting behind me playing this trucks, and he goes, Mama. And I turn around, look at him, I go, yeah. I can't remember exactly what he said. I know I have footage of me talking about this somewhere for like my therapy vlogs that I did, but like he said something along the lines of like, sometimes I get scared too, Mama. And you know, I always say, I just say, be brave. And he said it again. And so he hadn't said that in like 1.5 years or 2 years or something. And he said it to me in a time where I was not feeling very brave. And just the way he looked at me, the way he said it, I was like, this is the reason I have to keep going. You are the reason. Just his perfect little eyes. He was so sweet to want to like give me advice to help me in a time where he could tell that I wasn't feeling brave. I really wanted to get that tattooed for a while, and I still might, but I don't know. Who knows if I actually ever will do it, but I wanted to get it tattooed for a while, but I had it written on my arm for a while because it was really good for me to look down and see that, and every time I read it, I would think about my kids, and they, you know, truly are the thing that kept me going when I felt like I couldn't. And so that phrase, those 2 little words, means so freaking much to me, and really honestly saved me in a lot of situations. And I don't know, it's not like, sometimes you can't be brave, sometimes it's too hard to be brave, sometimes it's too hard to be happy, it's too hard to do anything. But for some reason, imagining the words be brave, but like seeing Flynn's face, man, that really motivated me to like get out of bed, to keep going, man. It means just those 2 little words. I just like will always associate it with like Flynn's cute little sweet perfect face, like looking me in my eyes with such kindness and innocence, and oh, he's just so sweet. And yes.
Your favorite made a joke about being a pedophile. Who in their right mind does that? You can argue, yes, that it was a different time, but it wasn't. It wasn't even too long ago that she made this joke. I think that anyone who has made a joke about being a pedophile needs to be looked at a little differently.
This moment between the two when they were playing a game and Flynn was hiding under the trampoline was deeply moving. Colleen telling her viewers that Flynn is the reason she has to keep going, and that his worst Easter panic attack after she went on stage at a live show was beautiful. But is it really? Because Adam McIntyre said he consoled her when she was getting divorced. These stories dangerously parallel one another, and the thought that Flynn could be exploited too terrifies me. That's what makes Adam's side of the story so difficult to believe. Colleen is the last person many would suspect to sexualize kids. The possibility that Flynn would discover his mother's alleged wrongdoings is going to be tragic. It'll be like Pandora taking a peek inside her box and unwittingly unleashing all the corruption in the world, and I'd hate for Flynn to inevitably have to experience that, especially since Colleen relies on him for relief. Her fans may forgive her, but the public won't forget, and it'll impact how her children may see her. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back after New Year's to give Scooter Braun a piece of my mind. Happy holidays.
Go.